It's the Scarves and Spikes pre-match show as Atlanta United takes on the Chicago Fire at Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois. Sitting Tommy with you ahead of this afternoon's match. Tommy, I think it's about a 2:40 kickoff from Soldier Field. Listed, of course, as 2:30 on MLSsoccer.com, but we all know how that works. But
Live.
Fox is not carrying it, so we imagine match will start around 2:40. So, how are you feeling about this match coming up? I think we already got your thoughts the other day, but are you any?
I wasn't here.
You weren't here. That's right. My days are mixed up. I'm trying to plan a wedding, some other stuff going on, but yeah. So, what are your thoughts about this match?
I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
I go back to last year, the Chicago match. I put the beard on the line, and it was the biggest stinker of a game.
Yeah.
I think we well, there were a lot of stinkers last year, but it was a stinker. It was boring. It was not a good game.
Yeah.
Chicago played on Wednesday.
Yes, Open Cup.
US Open Cup.
Yeah.
You're going to the Windy City. I checked the weather. It is a little windy out there. Atlanta is going to take the wind out of their sails, and they are going to win this game. No beard. I tried to bet my beard.
Yeah.
With a former Chicago Fire player, I think. Mike McGee.
Right.
He didn't respond back to me.
No response.
I guess he owns a vodka company, I found out. So I said, you bet me a bottle of vodka. I'll bet you my beard.
Yeah.
Call it a day because he didn't want to bet money. I tried. I tried
no
to
response.
throw it out there, and he didn't respond back. And no, he didn't. It sounds like he didn't accept any other bets. He's scared. He is scared of what Atlanta United is going to do to them.
We'll see what happens.
2:40 kickoff.
We'll see what happens with the return fixture. Maybe he will be up for a bet then. So, sorry, I'm just adjusting my camera here. But you mentioned the weather. Right now, 54 degrees. A little breezy, 13 mile per hour winds. So, it's a bit. I mean, it's sunny, but it's still a bit cool out there. And what you might expect, I feel like, for much of the year in Chicago outside of the spring and summer. But yeah, the weather's not great. It's not like terrible, but it's not like you can go out there with shorts and a t-shirt. Maybe if you're in Chicago, you may, but whatever floats your boat. We have lineups out, Tommy. Shall I talk about the lineups?
Yeah, I'm interested to see what it is because, Doug tweeted last week that they can't roll the same line. I haven't looked at it, so when you pull it up, this will be my first time seeing it. But Doug tweeted something, and I guess I didn't understand it, saying if they bring the same lineup out there, it's gonna. I don't remember what his wording was, that they can't.
Right.
I don't know why he can't, because if you did something and it worked for 30 minutes, maybe you can get it to work for 45 this time. And
yeah.
But will there be changes? We're going to keep it out here. Let's see.
Well, the big news is going in. Pedro Amador was questionable. Let me turn the chat on, by the way. Hey, Tequila, thanks for joining us. So the big news is Pedro Amador was questionable headed into the match. That was revealed on the availability report yesterday. Muyimba is off the availability report. Of course, Gregerson is still unavailable. So a couple of changes. Luis Abram, of course, starting with Derek Williams, but Ronald Hernandez starting, Matt Edwards starting. So those are the big changes from last week. Matt Edwards, I believe this is his second or third MLS start, or it could be his first. I'm not sure. But yeah, he is starting in place, or not in place, but he is starting this afternoon as, again, Ronnie Dowler making a couple of changes from last week's team. And no, this is not his first MLS start. This is 6. I don't know what I'm thinking. It's been a long year. Already. 11 matches in. But
was Brooks Lennon in?
Lennon is in.
Okay.
So let's go through the lines. Lennon, Edwards, Williams, Abram, Hernandez starting in place of Amador, Miranchuk, Fortune, Click, Almiron, and Latulat up top. From the looks of it, from what MLS Soccer has it as, it looks like 5 men in the back, but we haven't seen Atlanta United's lineup graphic yet. But that's what it is.
Out. I just pulled it up.
Oh yes, I
Pu-
did
pu-
see it. So
It's looks interesting.
yeah, it
Looks
does look
very
interesting.
interesting.
Saba not with the team. Saba is not with the team, so that is notable. I don't
Well,
know if there's
he's on
a
the reserves. He's on the reserves.
oh, so he's with the twos.
This is something.
I know.
This is
So no
something.
Saba. Saba unavailable. Oh, I'm sorry. He is in the team. I'm sorry. I was looking for Lobjanitsa, but I do see him in the team.
It's
So
only 4
Lennon
letters.
looks like
It's easy to miss
yeah,
it.
I know. But no, Lennon at the right wing, Fortune on the left, Click, Miranchuk, and then I don't know. It's the dual strikers up top. Let's pull the graphic up here in the chat. So are we going dual strikers? That'll be very
With
interesting this
Miguel
season.
and Latte
Yeah.
Loth. What the? I look. When I pulled this up, I kind of became speechless for a moment.
Yeah.
Nothing. Things haven't been working. Things
Right.
have not been working for a very long time here. So for last season, you begged Pineda to get weird. You begged him to get weird. Now last week, we begged for the lineup that we got. That
Right.
was the lineup that we got last week was basically what a lot of people wanted. That they
Yeah.
wanted and we got it. It worked for a very, very short period of time, for a third of the
Yep.
game, and then it went down. Well, then they said, let's get even weirder. Let's get
I,
more weird.
I know some people have asked perhaps putting Almiron in as a second striker. I
I
love to
have seen it a couple times. I don't remember who said it, but they're happy right now. Those people are doing backflips because I did not expect them to do what we're seeing right now.
yeah. I love to see how it looks like from a tactical standpoint once the match starts, but that is interesting. I mean, you're obviously looking for much of the service to come from your wings. In this case, so Fortune and Lennon will be called upon numerous times. I would imagine Edwards will be called upon as well as Hernandez. We've seen the two of them get forward, but I see Tequila saying don't like Hernandez there on the left. Outside of outside of Chonki, who is with the twos, presumably, I don't know if you have a lot of options with Amador not making the trip. Amador, by the way, we hope that it's not anything serious, but is an adductor. So hopefully he is back on Wednesday. Remember, we have a Wednesday match as well against Austin FC. So we'll see if he returns for that.
Is that the reason why Saba's not starting? Maybe they're trying to spread the love out here.
That could be. That could be. We'll have to get Dyla's insight into that.
Can you
After
text
the
him and
match.
ask him right now? Because I don't think I could wait 90 minutes plus to find out what his thoughts were here.
I'll try to get his number. I'll let you know. But yeah, a lot of wrinkles. A lot of wrinkles to this lineup versus other weeks for Atlanta United. So hopefully it works. I mean, you need something. You haven't won a match in 5 tries, and this Chicago has been a tough place to play for them over the past several years. I think they're going on 3 or 4 in a row winless in Chicago, whether that be Bridgeview or Soldier Field. So you're desperate for a win. You're desperate for a win. Desperate for 3 points any way you can get. And you have Latte Lot and Almiron as dual strikers. Hey, let's do it.
So when you try something new like this, it could either really work out or they're just not used to it, and it can be bad. What I would like them to
Yeah.
see, what I'd like to see, is them do something for a couple games.
Yeah.
Now, can you say that last week was a complete disaster, that you can't, that just it absolutely didn't work, and you don't want to try to build off of that? Because that's what I thought maybe that they would do.
Yeah.
Maybe try to build off of that. But I mean, like what Anthony's putting here, one thing I am worried about here is that the midfield is slow. It is a slower midfield.
Yeah.
Click is not. I didn't think that he was that slow, but I don't see. I mean, I know he's a little bit older, but and I really didn't watch him, prior to the Atlanta United days. But
Right.
You got to hope that if it's a counter, that they're going to be able to help out and get back into position where we were. I just look at the reserves and just see Slish not. I mean, hasn't been starting. I do
Yeah.
wonder if he's got a future with Atlanta United, possibly past this summer window, because there have been talks that he is homesick.
Mm.
I have seen that out there. Is he a future? You know, because we talk about
Right.
this, that they need to. Obviously, in the summer, there's not a lot of money just to go add players in.
Yeah.
So if you want to add, you're going to have to subtract. And seeing
Yeah.
him here struggling early on in the season and now not a regular part of the starting lineup,
Yeah.
that's gonna start getting talked about a little bit more, as how much is his usage from now until July-ish when the window opens up. Is he the subtraction
To,
to add here?
to your point though about the midfield, just going to that real quick. You mentioned this low midfield, but again, that may lend credence to the argument that you're going to go wide, much wider than you've been in the past. I mean, Lennon's not the fastest player in the world. Fortune's not the fastest player in the world. Neither are Hernandez and Edwards, but at least you have that width on the wings on either side, so that you can work the ball out wide. I know we use the terminology, your fancy use the terminology spray and pray. I mean, Lennon, when he's on, he's able to build that connection with his strikers, where that be. We haven't seen it as much with Latte Lot, but we saw it definitely with Yaka or Gigi when he was here. So Fortune and Lennon on the wings. I want to see, especially with Lennon. I mean, right wing is not a need position for him, but I want to see how that connection is, especially with Lennon on that right wing. Maybe with Almiron playing further up in the box. Can that
Can they
definitely
link up?
chemistry? Yeah, can that link up be good? And can that chemistry? I mean, they've not played together that long, but can they demonstrate that this is a potential way to unlock this attack? The midfield, if you're looking to use them in a holding standpoint rather than advance the ball forward, maybe you don't need the whole lot of speed. Maybe you go defensive at that part of the pitch. But I certainly do foresee this match for Atlanta United being won on the wings. If you can get out wide, you can make Chicago defend you wide. You can get those chances into the box and let your striker or strikers in this case feast on those crosses, especially against a backup goalkeeper in Jeff Gall in place of Chris Brady, who's suspended. I think he stands a chance of winning this match.
I mean, Brooks Lennon 2 seasons ago, when Arujo was sent off, had to play on the right there for a while, and he had some
Yeah,
success. He had some
yeah,
success with assists, had assists with score, or had success in scoring goals. Had a really good game against Philadelphia. When I think the first game after Arujo was moved out, he
yeah,
came in and scored a huge goal. I think it was the game winner in that one. I'm okay with them trying things here. I mean, Omar comes in saying, slowest defense in the history of this team here.
yeah,
There's not a lot of speed here in
yeah,
here. We'll see. I think this is. I don't think there's a middle. I don't think there's a draw in here. I think it's either Atlanta United wins or they are going to get wrecked. I,
yeah,
I, I, I could see, because I think
yeah,
I originally had 2-1 Chicago, and then I changed it. I totally forgot Chicago was playing in the middle of the week. It's like,
yeah,
okay, maybe you can catch them here. So I do still think that this is either going to be a 2-1 Atlanta United win, or it is going to be,
right.
what the hell are we doing here? I was
Yeah,
going to drop the F bomb. It's Saturday. I'm not going to do it.
and don't forget that Greg Berhalter went with her first choice 11 in the Open Cup. So obviously, that's a risk. I mean, you saw Kuipers, Bamba, Zinkernagel, Gutierrez out there, Gutman out
Some got
there.
subbed out early though because
Yes, some
it
did
was
get subbed
five
out.
nothing.
Yeah, some did. Yeah, exactly. It was very one sided. But that's a question when the lineup came out, and Tyler and I were doing the show on Wednesday. Is Berhalter's were their first choice 11, and like you said, they didn't play the whole match because of the scoreline. But you see a lot of those players out there again. you have to take care of Kuipers. You have to take care of course, Gutierrez, who's one of the top young midfielders in MLS. Certainly a men's national team candidate, U.S. men's national team candidate. Gutman will cause you problems, as we know, um, in the back, out wide. Um, and then Orahel is another player that Neil Sika mentioned on Wednesday as a player that Atlanta United has to look out for. So again, I think, and you have Kellen DaCosta, who, of course, is a veteran, knows MLS in and out. You have him as a substitute. So again, you have a keeper who's making his first MLS start, and Jeff Gal. He is a veteran. He's a veteran. He's played overseas, but he just came back to Chicago. He's from Chicago. He got signed by the Fire in 2023. He's untested at the MLS level. So, again, Tyler and I mentioned on Wednesday, you have to challenge him. You have to test him early and often. Make him work. Make him earn his keep in net, in goal for Chicago. If you can do that, especially if you can unlock these wings, if they're able to connect, link up with Latte Lot and Almiron, that's going to give you a massive boost, I think. And if you can win this match, you go into Austin with a lot of momentum against an Austin team who has kind of tailed off a lot over the past few weeks. They needed to come back against El Paso in the Open Cup, so they're looking to turn things around themselves. But again, you look at Chicago; they themselves are desperate. I think they're winners in their past 6, so they're desperate to
We're
get their season
desperate.
back on track. Both teams are desperate. These are two
Well,
very desperate teams.
yeah. Well, I ask you, and maybe you guys discussed this on Wednesday. I saw a few people tweeting about this on Wednesday. Was Chicago just one, not scared of Atlanta United, so they threw their starting lineup on Wednesday? 2, is it just Berhalter has respect for the U.S. Open Cup and says we're
Yeah,
winning this? I think it's probably that, because
I
we
think
didn't respect the U.S. Open Cup when we were throwing out some pretty sad lineups there throughout there. Won a couple of them and
except in
then
2019.
eventually lost.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I think it is Berhalter having respect for the Open Cup. I mean, he's
Good for
U.S.
him.
soccer guy through and through, right? Play for the national team and all that. So I think it was a tight rope to walk for him, saying, hey, do I want to put my first choice 11 out there with a couple of exceptions um, against Detroit City on Wednesday? And just hope to get a result against Atlanta on Saturday. Especially with the team struggling in MLS play, winless in the past 6, like I mentioned. So that is that balancing act that all MLS coaches have to walk, especially if they're playing in the Open Cup. Sometimes it helps. I mean, sometimes it hurts you, sometimes it doesn't. In the case of Wednesday, that was a blowout, and their class showed throughout the match. But I think it would have been there's a chance that it would have been reversed, that he would have put a second choice 11 out and then brought in his starters first choice later in the match to ice it, sort of like we saw with Charlotte against North Carolina FC. So again, that's the tightrope you have to walk as an MLS coach. And now we see, with Chicago, here you go again with your first choice 11. And by the way, Jack Elliott, I didn't mention it, but he is wearing the armband for Chicago. So it worked on Wednesday. If you're Greg Berhalter, you have to see, hey, will it work on Saturday?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of the Chicago-Orlando game on Saturday night, and it was I couldn't believe Orlando played another 0-0
Yeah,
game. I
I
could
know.
not believe it. And it wasn't like Chicago was playing great defense. It was just Orlando was just absolutely just so bad. Was that 5 out of 6 games for Orlando that were 0-0, or was it
I
4
think
out of
it's
5?
4 straight. I have to pull it up,
Well,
but
remember they scored against us. So they
yeah.
did beat us, and then I think they went back then to a 0-0 game. So
Uh-huh.
there was the one where they scored in the middle there, but holy smokes. I know this is on MLS Monday, but I just had to bring that up because I did watch some of that game and threw some cash on Orlando saying, okay, they're going to win this game. And they
Yeah.
didn't. Why do
They
you bet
they
against, why do you bet on Orlando? I don't know. I'm an idiot.
they
I'm
haven't they
not
haven't
touching this game.
no. They haven't allowed a goal in their past 5 matches, which is but if you look at
They're not scoring either, except against Atlanta.
no, They had, I think it was, no, Chicago had, I think, 8 shots on goal, even with the red card to Brady. So Chicago controlled that match, even with 10 men. They had 8 shots on goal to Orlando's 2. So that's points dropped certainly for Orlando. Like, they could barely muster anything in the attack. I mean, 2 shots on goal with a man advantage is not good. But then Gallese was terrific for Orlando, 8 shots on goal for Chicago. So Chicago certainly themselves feel as points dropped in the in that, they had chance after chance, but weren't able to get one past Gallese. So I'm sure they're frustrated going into Wednesday. They're able to take their frustration out on Detroit, and they'll be looking to build on that against Atlanta United. Again, 2 very desperate teams, Tommy, like we mentioned. Atlanta more so because of the money they pay in the attack, and Chicago as well. Especially bringing in Bamba. But yeah, I think you have a shot at winning.
I mean, you have a shot every week.
Yeah.
Every game, you've got a shot at winning. It's how it goes.
Trying to talk myself into it.
How you perform. Well, and Omar said, Fatma says we're playing a 5-4-1. Everybody's just trying to make sense of what the hell this is at this point. Atlanta United might be throwing the graphic out there and just saying, look at this graphic. We ain't doing this. Ain't doing this. You'll just be surprised on what we're doing.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for my more. Bold prediction of this game, though, is that Saba is going to come in late in this game and score a goal. That's my prediction. Now, I don't know if it's already 5-0 Chicago at that point. I don't know if it's 0-0. Yeah. I do think that Saba comes in here and he gets his first goal here. And if I'm Saba, I've got to be completely frustrated with the way his minutes that he's been playing for the past month, because he's been taken out a lot because formation change. But I hope that he is able to finally make his mark on this team, because Dan, we said early in the preseason, this guy was hot. I think he had 3 goals in the preseason. It was 2 or 3 goals, and he's done nothing. He's done absolutely nothing with this team. So hopefully the substitution comes in here, and he comes in as a sub. We'll call him the Super Saba.
Right.
We'll trademark that on Wednesday after he scores a goal, and we'll play this back. Just so everyone knows that I called him Super Saba. We'll sell a shirt with just 2 S's and the Superman logo. DC, don't sue us. And that is what happens.
Well, we win because of Super 2 S's in this day and age. Just saying.
Okay, Super SD. I don't know. We'll figure this out.
we don't want to cause issues.
No, I'm an idiot. Just hit the music.
It's pre-match show. We don't have music. So I just hit end stream at this point.
Well, I live in the land where Superman was created here, and now they've been advertised, because I think that movie comes out in a couple weeks.
It does.
Ugh, so sick of Superman movies. But no, I got none.
Oh, okay. I think that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll have the 3 takeaways after the match. Of course, scarvesandspikes.com. We'll have a recap. We'll have first reaction, all that good stuff. Back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, to talk about the match, our match reaction podcast. And then we're trying to figure out what we're doing this week. There's a match, of course, on Wednesday against Austin, so we're trying to navigate that. We'll let you know what we decide, what we have rolling for that. But
Spaces.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Spaces after the match.
Do a little bit of shorter spaces tonight, but
it is Mother's Day weekend. Are you taking?
Yeah, we're celebrating Mother's Day with Tina tonight, so that's. So awesome. We'll be doing a shorter one, but come on, we'll be talking about it. We'll have to. I mean, obviously, we'll have to start about the lineup again and how this was either a major success or, damn it,
major failure.
Yeah. So join us on Spaces.
Yes. And